I've been quite busy here. My Pac-Man has been all over the maze, has eaten almost all of the food up, and there's just one little tiny piece left. So I'm going to click onto the game, move Pac-Man forward, and eat that last piece of food. And that's suddenly got very boring. What I need to decide now is what I want to happen in a room when the Pac-Man has eaten all the food. What I'd like to do is I'd like to go on to a new room. So this involves a little bit of thinking, because the first question you've got to ask is how does the game know when all the food has gone? And how do I get it to know that once all the food is gone, once the number of pieces of food has gone to 0, then what I wanted to do next is go on to the next room. So this is when we start really sort of getting into the programming side of the game. So far we just had some sort of graphics and things moving around. We're now coming to what's called decision making in a game. So what the game does next depends on some conditions. So if there's 3 pieces of food left and the Pac-Man eats one of them, what we want the game to decide to do is just keep the Pac-Man in that room and just keep on letting him running around. If the piece of food the Pac-Man eats is the last piece of food, what we want the game to do is to decide to take the Pac-Man onto the next room. Okay, so let's close that down, and we need to do several things here. Now, first of all, at the moment he can't go into a next room because there isn't a next room. So I'm going to right mouse click on the room and duplicate it. I've now got 2 identical rooms. That's the first thing. Okay. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly, hopefully without destroying a lot of the stuff in the room, I'm going to make it a bit simpler for myself, because I'm just going to make a room with just one single piece of food in it. So then I can test it out. Every single time I want to test it out, I don't have to get the Pac-Man running around the maze eating all the food up. So having like a test room where you've just got one of something in it can be much more straightforward. It's quicker to drag my mouse around taking all the food away than constantly trying to play the Pac-Man doing that. So this is room, whoops, I'm actually now taking out some of the maze as well, which I think I can sort of kind of live with for the moment. And that now means I've got, in this room, I've just got one single piece of food and a maze with holes in it. So now, on the food, I'm now saying I want you to destroy the instance, and I want you to set the score to 10, and I then want you to make a decision. Now, decisions come under the control button. So what I'd like to know is all the food gone? Well, one way of doing that is to check an object, see whether there's any of it left. So that's one way we could do it. We could say check whether there's any of this object left. Or the other way we could do it is we could count the number of pieces of food. And in the case of something where we have a lot of them, this is the easy way to do it. If we had one of something, it'd be easier just to check the instance. So in this case, we're going to say, so we say what we want to do is we want to count, and we tell it what we want to count. We want to count the food. And it says, okay, count the food. And then what do you want to do? Well, I want to know when the number is equal to 0. So I want to know when the number of pieces of food in that room is equal to 0. And if you like to think about it, what we've got here is a yes/no question. Okay? So what we're saying is the number of pieces of food in this room equal to 0? And the answer will be yes or no. So if the answer is no, we want it to stay in the room. And if the answer is yes, we want it to go on to the next room.